Peace, love, and prosperity, family. This is a new tomorrow, and you're listening to the Tomorrow's Perspective podcast. It's been a few while since I dropped the video. Had a lot going on, but it's given me very much a lot of time to think about a bunch of different concepts or through experiences that I've been going through these past few weeks. And one particular one that I very much want to get into a conversation about on this self care Sunday is healing and traumatic scars, right? And the metaphor that I created for this one was the same way that you receive a scar on your body, your physical persons, your body automatically knows that it has to address this issue. Why is that? Because an unchecked wound that will not heal it becomes subject to infection. And your body knows that an infection is one of the worst things that can happen because it has an effect on all systems of your body, your blood, your respiratory, your digestive. An infection can do a lot of damage. So the cells in your body automatically knows that we have to drop everything that we're doing and we have to address this issue. We have to get this wound healed up immediately. Um, Well, the same thing applies whenever we receive traumatic wounds, right? And these can be wounds that we receive as children, and these could be wounds that we receive in today. And we live in a system where a lot of people would like to say that they're healed, but they don't want to have to address their traumatic experiences because just throwing a band-aid on a wound doesn't heal it, right? That band-aid has to be removed for that wound to fully heal. In case nobody knew, you can't just have a band-aid on a wound 24/7 and think that that's going to heal. That's actually going to kind of hinder the process. So we do the same thing in our traumatic experiences where we feel like we've closed the door on things that has happened to us in our past and just decided to never address them again. Well, this could be very detrimental to our emotional and our mental well-being as well. And the reason being is because if you look at yourself as a person today and you understand that you have these character flaws within yourself that you might not like about yourself, and you might not fully understand why you are this way, and it's something that you've been working on trying to change, but you just can't seem to put this thing behind you, I'm willing to bet that it is based off of a traumatic experience that you faced in your past. And you may not be willing to address this issue, right? And this process is what's called shadow work. Is given many different names, but I refer to it simply as shadow work because it requires you to go back and address those deepest, darkest levels of yourself, those areas of yourself that you've attempted to put behind you, right? And in all honesty, there's nothing wrong with putting up walls or setting boundaries, as I like to say, but not understanding why you have these boundaries set and not being in full acceptance of understanding that you may still be suffering from these pains from when you was a child, or maybe suffering from these pains that may have happened recently, that it keeps you from becoming the best version of your higher self that you can be, right? And in my opinion, that should be the goal. You feel me? It's hard to really understand where we can find introspective success as far as really wanting to be happy, because we know that money's not going to bring happiness. Money only brings an easier life, right? Or cars, clothes, jewelry, women, men, whatever the case may be. Um, True happiness comes from the inside. And if we don't allow ourselves to be open to these painful things that happen to us and use a better perspective about these things, understand that if you don't believe it or not, even, and I myself have dealt with a lot of traumatic experiences, and I would let those things in my past have a major effect on who I was in the present, and then that automatically led up to the outcome of what my future would be, right? And I had to address these issues, and I I want to go on to say that opening up those doors that you felt like you've closed for so long, that you've chosen to not want to open and really want to re-experience, it is a very painful process, right? And timing is everything when it comes down to making this decision that you want to be this, but understand that time is limited as well, right? It's like how somebody could be on their deathbed and they come out with some big secret, some big reveal that they've been hiding, and they just wanted to get it off their chest before they went. And in those moments, those persons are finally at peace, right? Well, you shouldn't have to wait until you're on your deathbed to want to find peace, because we don't have a whole lot of time right now in our lives, right? Like it's better to go ahead and face your demons now and use the rest of the time that you have on this planet to search for happiness, right? And that happiness comes with understanding that even though you were the victim then, doesn't mean that you have to be a victim of your past circumstances today. And I see it in people all the time, right? And I'm pretty sure that we all do. We see somebody who's been through something very traumatic in their past, and it very much affects them today still. And that could be, abuse, rape, relationships, um, poverty. There's a long list of things, but um, there's a law, one of the 12 laws of the universe, um, and it's the law of relativity, right? And what the law of relativity did for me was it helped me to understand that no matter how bad things may get, it can always be worse, right? And I know that's a fucked up way to look at it sometimes, because situations can be very, very bad, but and then trying to have a positive perspective in the midst of that situation, it can seem absurd, you know what I'm saying? But there's certain things in life that we just can't control, right? There's certain things in life that we have no control, no say so over. These things is going to happen to us whether we want it to happen to us or not. And especially understanding that children don't have a choice. And as children who went through traumatic experiences, we didn't have a choice. There wasn't nothing that we could do about it, right? That does not mean that I have to, as a grown man today, I have to let that be a major effect in my life. And if it is going to have an effect on my life, it's going to affect me for the better, right? Because now I'm able to talk about these traumatic experiences that I had, because there may be somebody else who's going through these things. It's not something that I'm hiding away from the world, because I mean it happened, right? So this goes to you, whatever it is that happened, it happened, but you have a choice on how you choose to use that. Either you can gain power over it, or you could you could let it have power over you, right? So understand that these traumatic scars can be very infectious to our mental and emotional persons, spiritually as well, right? And and very much spiritually, that's another conversation that I want to have, because um that's another conversation we'll get into. Right now we're talking about self-care, all right? um so it goes to, like, you've been in a bad relationship and you don't want to let nobody else in, you know what I'm saying? That's just something simple, right? Like, that's just something simple. You don't want to trust another man, or you don't want to trust another woman, because of something that you went through, the way that the relationship went. Maybe he was beating on you. Maybe he was cheating on you. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he just wasn't being able to be there for you emotionally, whatever the case may be. These things have an effect on us as we go. But it's now you can look at it to where, and I would say oftentimes we find people who are constantly drawn back into these negative relationships simply because, right? You start to question the value in yourself. So you feel like this is all you're worth. This is the best that you're gonna get. So you might as well just settle for anything. Man, that is a part of the infection, right? That is the part of the infection of yourself that's telling you that you don't want more because you don't deserve more. Understand that you are infected. You can do as good as you want to do in any relationship, right? Of course, you're gonna always have bad ones, but are you gonna allow the experiences of these other people to make you less of what you really are? Because you are divine, right? We all are. We are all divine and we are all highly favored in our own rights, right? And the universe don't make no mistakes. So the things that you went through in life was not a mistake. The things that you are going through in life today is not a mistake, right? And the way that I like to describe these situations to about the universe and these negative experiences that we go through in life is that um the universe wants to be able to experience itself right through you. The universe wants to see just how strong you are individually because you are the universe, and the universe wants to know just how much better can it make you. And the only way to do that, the only way to really get better in life, the only way to grow is through darkness, right? Everything grows out of darkness. A baby grows in the darkness of the mother's womb. A seed grows in the darkness of the ground to create trees. Everything grows in darkness, and this is the same thing that you are experiencing today. You are growing, right? Or those past situations that you went through, you went through them so that you can grow, right? And you'll constantly go through, these traumatic situations. It's only because you're not growing. You're not looking at these situations for what they are. You're steady trying to build a emotional connection with a situation that's only meant to push you further, right? So these traumatic things are meant to be lessons, right? It's not to hinder you. And we always like to ask, oh, why, Lord, why, Jesus, why this? Oh, God, why that? The why is very simple. And it's always hard to see it in the middle of being in it. But the why is very much simple. It's only to push you forward. It's to make you grow, right? To make you into being the best version of yourself that you can be, right? It may be putting you through this situation because there's going to be somebody in your future that is going to be going through the same situation, and it may just be your job, your divine purpose to help guide this person through that. But if you don't ever accept the fact that trauma holds no power over you, and that you have full capacity to heal and be the best version of yourself in spite of your trauma, then you will forever be a slave to your past. You'll forever be a slave to your ego, right? Because that is the ego is the ego is the protector of your physical, mental, and emotional, right? And this protector is very much great at his job. You know what I'm saying? Like your protector does his job very well. And what the ego does is to make sure that you don't feel any physical pain. So it's the thing that's gonna tell you should probably not touch that stove, stupid. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be the thing that tries to protect you from emotional pain. It's gonna be that thing that's telling you we're not gonna let these people get too close because they might hurt us like we've been hurt in the past. You see what I'm saying? And it's gonna be the same thing that tells you that man, I don't feel like doing nothing for myself. You feel me? That spiritual aspect. I don't wanna have to, do anything that's gonna make me feel confident because ain't nobody gonna like you anyway. You see what I'm saying? So understanding that your ego is built up off of your good and your bad experiences. And more so off your bad experiences because your ego understands that its job is to protect you and make sure that you know that you're not that there's a possibility that something's gonna hurt you. It's that same voice that tells you that something bad is gonna happen and nothing bad ever happens. But hey, just be prepared for any moment. It's very good at its job, but the ego has to be controlled, right? The ego has to be the ego has to be disciplined. It has to be taught discipline because if not, and you just allow the ego to run rampant, then everything's going to seem like a problem in your life. Everything is going to seem like a threat to you simply because you've already been hurt before. So now your ego feels like I got to make sure that my person doesn't experience these things anymore, right? So then that's where it comes in of really opening yourself up and doing the work to understand that everything that nothing can hurt me, right? There ain't nothing that can hurt me, right? I say no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Well, understand that these weapons aren't just physical weapons that have been formed against you. There are weapons that have been formed against you mentally and emotionally as well, right? We get so focused up on the physical that we forget to check on our mental and our emotional and our spiritual well-being, which these are really these are just as important as our physical body, if not more important. You understand? So these are also the things that we have to check up on, and we have to be able to figure out what wounds have been caused, what wounds has been given to these aspects of our lives, and really put into perspective how we need to heal these things, right? Because it's very hard to heal a wound if you don't know where it comes from. You understand? If you don't know where that wound that made you uh very a very untrusting person, then you can't heal it. Shadow work. Do your shadow work, right? Take your time. It's not a process that needs to be rushed. You know what I'm saying? If you want to heal, if you really want to find true divinity and true happiness in this world and peace and love and prosperity, then it requires you. You will be required to open yourself up to the darkest corners of your being and accept that darkness, right? You have to accept that darkness because there is no light without darkness, right? And all light is born from darkness. You understand? So don't be afraid of the dark. Don't be afraid of who you can be, right? I could say like I've held myself back so much based off of being afraid of who it was that I could be and my ego itself telling me that I couldn't be because that is a painful process that comes along with it. And I'm so happy to say that I've reached a point in my life where I am no longer afraid of the pain because pain can only make me better. You know what I'm saying? Pain can only make me grow. You feel me? I'm not going to be one of those people who become a subject to what somebody else, anything outside of me think that they can do to me because I know that I'm not going to cause myself any pain, right? Pain can only come from an external an external force, and with that external force comes a lesson. You know what I'm saying? When life gives you lemons, and so on and so forth. You see where I'm going with this? Is it it is very much required for us to have dark times in our life, from an early age all the way up to the last day that we walk this earth, to the last day that we dwell in this realm of being. We are required to deal with pain, right? Pain doesn't stop. As you grow, your pain, your pain tolerance increase. You see what I'm saying? But if you never get over a pain, then you're just going to constantly subjugate yourself to that same pain, because now the universe understands that this is as far as your pain level goes. So this is the level of pain that you're going to constantly feel until you make the decision that you want to get past this pain, but you also have to be ready for what pain comes next, right? And in pain, you find happiness, right? You have that perspective of understanding that all things can be overcome. It's the truth, right? So this was a new tomorrow on the Tomorrow's Perspectives podcast, hitting you with your self-care Sunday. Don't be afraid of the dark, people. Peace, love, and prosperity. Ashe.